If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code REMA, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video guys, we have some 4-2-2 custom tactics and player instructions to help you out in FC24. This formation's got a lot more popular over the past few months in this game. Very direct, very balanced, and fits the meta very, very well. Not one of my personal favorites, I'll be completely honest with you, but I can see why a lot of people like it, and you know, you can definitely get results with this formation. So yeah, with all that aside guys, please be sure to drop this a thumbs up, as it does really help me out with the YouTube search algorithm. Also subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you never miss out on any videos of course, and then also don't forget to turn on those notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And yeah, with all that aside guys, let's get right into today's video. Okay then guys, so starting off with the tactics, honestly pretty similar to a lot of formations in this game, because like I say, this game's very linear, very one-dimensional. You pretty much have to do a lot of the same things regardless of the setup you want to use. So if you're noticing similarities, there's not much I can do about it, but we're going to go through them anyway, and then we'll go through the instructions. So yeah, starting off with the tactics guys. For the defensive style, as always, I pop this on balanced, as it gives me the best control over my defensive shape. When I want to press, I can, and when I want to drop off and maybe be that bit more passive, I can also do that. So I enjoy the control that balance gives me. However, if you guys want to use some pressure tactics because that's something you're more comfortable with, then you can go right ahead. Now, moving on to the defensive width, guys, one thing I always suggest with the defensive width in this game is going for the range between 40 and 50. The reason for this is that having the width from like 40 to 50 gives you a nice, narrow and compact defense, which means you're going to be able to block out all those attacks through the middle and stop your opponent being able to just run right through you. The reason I suggest this range as well is because you don't want your defense to be too narrow to the point where, you know, you're just leaving all this space down the wing, because you don't want your opponents to just be able to run right past you down the wing either. So you have to find that balance. You want to be narrow but not too narrow. So I go with the sweet spot of 45, but anywhere from 40 to 50 and you should be fine guys. Moving on to the depth, this is really a preference thing, I'll be honest with you guys, but one thing a lot of people do in this game is use 71 depth. The reason people use this is because it gives you that automatic press. It completely congests the middle area of the pitch and makes it very difficult for an opponent to play through you. Pretty much every player gets marked and the AI does a lot of work for you. So if you struggle defensively and you need a bit of assistance and you also like playing aggressive, then 71 depth is really good for you. If you're somebody like me, however, and you like to have a bit more control over how you defend because you like to be more manual and you feel like, you know, you can defend a bit more manually, then something like 65 or 60 is great, which is what I use, because you still have that higher defensive line, you just have a bit more control over when you press your opponent. If this is still too high for you, you can lower it even more. So you can pretty much use whichever depth you want, and that is why I say it is a preference thing. Moving on to the build-up play, guys, I highly recommend balanced, as I think it is the most controlled, I think it's the most fluent, and I think it is the most reliable, if I'm being honest with you guys. When you look at these settings like slow build-up and fast build-up, they sound good on paper, but the thing is that AI is just terrible. You know, with slow build-up, they just don't really move at all, and it doesn't help you build up slowly. Fast build-up, they just move around like absolute morons. So yeah, not good. The only one you can make an argument for really, I'd say, is long ball, but you know, I don't really use that. So I would say balanced or long ball, but most people would rather go with balanced in my opinion. Now for the chance creation, guys, I highly recommend direct passing because it's the only way to consistently break through that park the bus defense in FC24. When you use direct passing, guys, your attackers make this push forward track back type movement. So what will often happen is your attacker will make this run, and then the opposition defender will follow the attacker that has made that run. Once that defender has overcommitted to the run that the attacker has made, your attacker will then track back. So then there is a big distance between that defender and the attacker, so you can either cut back or pass across to them. So this is why it's called cut back FC24, and that is how it works. But you know, it has to be used because it's the only way to consistently break through the AI. Moving on to the attacking width, you can pretty much use whatever you want for this. The only important thing is remembering that the lower the attacking width, the more narrow your attack, and the higher the attacking width, the wider you are. So you know, do what you want with that, but I would always advise somewhere from 40 to 60, 40 obviously being more narrow, so I've just gone with like a random number like 54, 55, and it works fine for me, but yeah, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. Now for the players in the box, I have this on 6, this is so we can get quite a few players into that penalty area without over-committing to the point where if we lose out on possession, we're not always going to get counter-attacked. For the corners and the free kicks, I have the corners on 2 and the free kicks on 1, but you can pretty much do whatever you want with that. Now, for the player instructions, guys, pretty basic, I'll be completely honest with you, but for both of the strikers, we have them on the stay central and get in behind instructions. Now, we have them on stay central because we don't really want them drifting out into the wider areas. You want them to be in the middle so that you can rely upon them. If you have both strikers in the middle as well, it makes attacking much easier in my opinion because you always have those 2 players to aim for, and it's difficult for your opponent to mark both of them. You also don't really need them covering the wider areas since you've got like the wide cams to do that, so you don't need them there either. And then getting behind's great because it forces movement out of these players. It's very important to have this on getting behind, especially if your opponent is using like a pressure tactic or 71 depth, because on mixed attack these players just won't really move at all, and that is going to make you struggle. So I think stay central, getting behind, very, very important. Now moving on to these wide cams, guys, we have them on comeback and defense and get into the box for cross. Now the reason we pop them on comeback on defense is because it will make it defend in a 4-4-2 shape. So when you have these wide cams on comeback on defense, guys, they will come back to sit next to those 2 CDMs in the defensive shape. So when we don't have the ball, they'll come back to sit either side of those CDMs and they'll defend more as a right mid and a left mid. The reason we do this is because it is a really nice compact defensive shape which completely covers those spaces that you can see are next to those CDMs. So it doesn't give your opponent any space to really attack down the wing, and they also don't really have anywhere to go through the middle because of those 2 CDMs. So that is why we do that, guys. We also pop them on get into the box for cross, so when we get near that penalty area, they will actually commit into the box to finish off those chances for us. Now, moving on to the left CDM, guys, I suggest a balance in this, in these 2 CDM roles. I suggest having one more defensive-minded player and then a more box-to-box player next to them. So the left CDM is my more defensive one, the one that's going to stay back. So on this player, we have them on stay back, cut passing lanes, and cover center. Stay back, of course, because I said we don't want them going forward. We need that balance in the midfield. Cut passing lanes to break up the play and get us possession back. Made even better if this player has intercept plus. And then we also have them on cover center to cover that middle area because we don't need them to cover the wing since we've got the wide cams coming back to do that. Anyway, now for this right CDM, guys, we use a more box-to-box player, like I said. So on this player, we leave them on the default settings, and the only thing we change is cover center. Default settings because, like I said, they're box-to-box. We want them to do a bit of everything. We want them to have that freedom, so we kind of just let them do what they want. The only thing we change is that cover center. So like the other CDM, they will cover that middle area because, like I said, we've got those wide cams coming back to cover those wings. Now moving on to the fullbacks, guys, whichever one is your most attacking one or whichever one you want to send forward, pop them on balanced overlap. Now the reason we do this is because the 4-2-2 is still quite a narrow formation. So the reason we do this is to give us that extra width, to give us that wider option, and to stretch out the opponent's defense. So it makes it much easier to attack just having that wider option, in my opinion. So balanced overlap's the way to go on the more attacking one. And then the other one, so in my case the left back, we have them on stay back and overlap. This is so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, so we're nice and defensively sound. But when we send them on that run forward, they'll make that overlapping run to give us extra width. Anyway, for the 2 centre backs, guys, we leave them alone, and the goalkeeper, we also leave them alone. But yeah, guys, they are my tactics and instructions for the 4-2-2. If you guys have enjoyed or found this useful, please be sure to drop this a like. It does really, really help me out. Sub to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos, of course. And don't forget to turn on those notifications. And yeah, with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Take care.